Topic, a frank discussion of a controversial problem. This week, Franklin Trevelyan talks to Dr. Rhomboid Goatcabin about freedom of speech.
Dr. Goatcabin, what I want to ask you first is, do you believe that in this country there is freedom of speech?
Well, I always...
Or to put it another way, do you believe that there is, in this country, freedom of speech?
Yes. Well, I think
or
that...
to paraphrase that, do you believe that there is freedom of speech in this country?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
In other words, are people in this country free to speak?
Yes, well...
that is what I mean. Yeah.
Yes,
perhaps I should say that by free I mean, of course, unrestrained.
Yes.
By speech I mean the act of speaking
yes,
words.
Quite.
And by in this country I mean, of course, Great Britain.
Yes, I do appreciate it.
I
feel...
and Northern Ireland.
And Northern Ireland, yes.
Yes, and the Channel Islands.
Channel Islands, yes.
But not, of course, abroad.
No, and I do...
I mean, let me put another... I mean, to what extent do you, as opposed to anyone else...
Yes, I know the question.
Who would be other people for the purpose of this question...
I do know the question.
Feel. And by feel, I mean believe...
I know the question.
Consider, hold to be true...
I know the question.
Fine, credit to...
I know the question.
Maintain, assume, surmise, accept, deem, win, or proud that this is in fact the case.
I know the question.
Or not.
What, me?
Yes.
You want to know what I think?
That's right.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I've forgotten the question.
Freedom of speech.
Oh, yes. Well,
what I was asking was, do you feel that freedom of speech in this country is an illusion or a reality?
I remember.
And I mean by reality,
yes,
of course,
I do mean
true
states. I know the question. I know the question. I remember the question. I do know the question. I know it. I didn't want to come here. You made me come here.
Considered in
I didn't want to come.
after all, was not an easy decision on a relative as opposed to an absolute problem. When I say problem, I do mean an issue that affects all of us at this time. I mean, I always myself feel that while it is universally agreed that some restriction on the right of free speech is necessary, for example, in the case of the law of libel or in as the case may be. I mean, bearing in mind that with censorship, many of the facts that lead to a repression of a person's opinion can in fact lead, if bottled up, to extremely violent states of action, though I do not personally believe it to be the case, as there seems to be little evidence to this effect.
Well, I always feel that in the case of freedom of speech, one can only...
However, I'm afraid that's all that we have time for tonight.
Good night.